Today's video is sponsored by the new Paper-like with nano dots, which makes writing or drawing with any Apple Pencil on any iPad feel more like paper. Hey, it's Chris. So the new iPad Air came out the other day and it looks pretty amazing. And it's got a lot of people wondering, why would you ever buy the 11-inch iPad Pro at this point? Right here, I've got a 12.9-inch iPad Pro and it's great. I love it. But I also even find myself being magnetically drawn to that new iPad Air. It's just so cool with those colors. It's got a faster processor, and in a lot of ways, it has everything that most people want from a Pro at a cheaper price. So what I wanna do in this video is not do a review like a hardware versus hardware type of thing, but just from an informational standpoint, from somebody who's an Apple enthusiast standpoint, and just to help you with your buying research, making that buying decision, is just compare not only the features and the differences, but where the value is, and also what the future looks like. In other words, one thing might look like the best thing to buy right now, but what about the future? Here's the thing, buying an iPad used to be a lot more simple, but Apple's lineup is just getting a little bit crazy lately. You used to just pick out, do you want a bigger one or a smaller one? Then pick out how much storage you wanted, maybe choose a color, and you were done. Hit the buy button. The real question I think on people's mind is, why would you buy an iPad Pro? It used to be that the iPad Pro was the only thing that had a Magic Keyboard or the best Apple Pencil. But both of those accessories are now compatible with this 4th gen iPad Air. Plus, all the cool colors, you know? You don't get that on the Pro. The Pro has LiDAR support, which your average customer does not care about at all right now. And the iPad Air has now inherited the Pro's looks. And again, Apple calls this an all-screen design. That drives people nuts because obviously there's this bezel here. It looks a lot better than the previous iPad Air. There's no question about that. The iPad Pro, though, has a higher refresh rate, 120 hertz refresh rate. That is great. Is it worth paying a lot of extra money for? I don't know if it's that great. Once you've used 120 hertz, then you don't like to go back to something without it because mentally you will notice it. You guys know a lot of people are like, where's my 120 hertz for the iPhone 12? It's rumored that it's not gonna make it into the production model. Oh dang, I just gotta pause, I'm looking in the monitor. Look how good these look together with the wallpapers. But people who have used 120 hertz refresh rate on a phone or any device, they just know it is a really awesome luxury. Also, Face ID. That's something that the Pro has that the Air doesn't. Now that's kind of controversial because a lot of people are super excited about the new top button that's gonna be a fingerprint reader, so you can use Touch ID to pay for things, to authorize things, to unlock your device. A lot of people like that better. Personally, I really like the idea of having Face ID on my iPad. On the Pro, I just wish they'd move this camera here up to the top. For me, this is the top. I use this mostly in landscape mode, horizontally. So yeah, my thumb does come over here and block the camera sometimes, and you know, it's kind of a pain, it's not a big deal. It's not something that would stop me from recommending the Pro, having Face ID, not at all. But those are the major differences. The one other thing I do want to point out is that with the Pro, you do have the 12.9-inch option. That's what I opted for this year. I've been switching off every year, and whatever I don't have, it feel like the grass is greener on the other side. When I have the 11-inch, I want the 12.9. When I have the 12.9, I want the 11-inch because they both have benefits. When I have the 12.9-inch, where I enjoy it the most is on my desk, especially with Sidecar. So when I'm using this device with Sidecar as an extra monitor or display for my Mac, that just makes a world of difference. You guys know if you've been around long enough, I got that ultra-wide 49-inch monitor on my usual desk setup with my MacBook Pro, and then this 12.9-inch iPad Pro. And I use all three of those screens at once, and it's great. It's just amazing. But even when I'm without that monitor and I'm mobile and I'm traveling, which is basically the situation I'm in right now as I'm waiting for the next studio to finish being built, then it's so nice to have the 12.9-inch screen as a companion to my 15-inch MacBook Pro. But the 11-inch size is also amazing. It's perfect for portability. It's what I would recommend if you're a student, you know, assuming times were regular and you were going to class all the time, right? Or for people who are in meetings a lot or traveling a lot. That is such a great, just perfect size for portability. And to be honest, Sidecar with an 11-inch device is still really, really great. It's just that the 12.9-inch is better. It's more luxurious. So I think when you're thinking about this decision, you do have to think about use cases. It's not just about the price. Because if you're a pro, and if you are, then you know that you are. If you're like, am I a pro? Then you're probably not a pro. But if you're a pro, then there are scenarios where it makes sense to spend extra money to get a tool that's gonna help your business in some way. And maybe getting that 12.9 inches is one of those things. That extra screen real estate does actually come in handy when I'm doing things like sketching or drawing. And with the new scribble functionality with the Apple Pencil that just got released, you know, if you're creative, I think that's one other use case or scenario where you may want, if you're like really heavily dependent on the Apple Pencil because you're illustrating or sketching or drawing, or if you're a student and you just like handwritten notes. There's something to be said about the 12.9 inch for using the Apple Pencil as well. One of those things being storage. So on the iPad Pro, you can go up to 1 terabyte of storage, and that does matter to pro people. On the iPad Air, you can only go up to 256 gigs. So there are people out there whose storage is gonna matter more than colors or the chip. If you're a photographer and you just finished a huge shoot and you have redundant backups and stuff, then maybe that 1 terabyte really is gonna matter. If you're a video editor like myself, then that internal 1 terabyte storage can matter, because for me, I like to be able to edit everything without having to plug in a scratch disk or scratch drive. And it's great that both of these devices have a USB-C connector. I love that. I love being able to use those accessories and external drives. But there's just something really nice, especially when you're traveling and when you're mobile, to just being able to edit a whole project on your device internally. So 1 terabyte, that does absolutely matter to certain people. And then again, other people are just gonna be like, I don't care, I don't need it. And I think hopefully at this point, as we're going through this, you're starting to figure out who you are and which device you really need. The craziest thing in this whole scenario is the chip. So the A14 makes its debut appearance in an iPad for the first time rather than in an iPhone, because the iPhone event's coming next month. So you have Apple's best chip in its mid-tier iPad, not in the Pro. And the starting price is $200 less, $599 for the Air versus a starting point of $799 for the 11-inch iPad Pro. Whoa. And this is where we need to talk about the future, because at the moment, it looks like if you're shopping around for an 11-inch iPad, you gotta go with the Air. It's just like, it doesn't make sense to get the 11-inch iPad Pro, basically, at this point. It seems kind of dead in the water. Are things gonna remain that way for long? Probably not too long. I think that things got thrown off because of the pandemic, supply chains got weird, and we ended up in this weird situation that we're in. When the next iPad Pro comes out, it's absolutely going to crush the iPad Air. I'm positive of that. Right now we have a situation where people bought the iPad Pro like a week or two ago, or a month ago, and then the iPad Air came out and they're kicking themselves. They're mad, they're upset. They're like, man, I wish I had known, I would have waited. But what you don't want to do is get into the same situation where you get the Air and then not too far in the future, the new Pro comes out and that really has the features that you wanted. Because what Apple usually does is come out with some crazy features for the flagship model, and then the other devices kind of play catch up. Well, the iPad Air is really in that catch up phase, even though the processor did jump ahead, but this is weird. It's the pandemic. It's not usual. So mark my words, the last iPad Pro update was pretty lackluster, really just a spec bump that added some LiDAR, but the next iPad Pro I fully expect to be a pretty amazing device. For the most part though, I think your intuition is correct if you thought that the iPad Air is just giving you the most bang for your buck right now, because I would say that's definitely the case. For 98% of people, you should probably get the iPad Air if you need an iPad right now. Well, a more capable iPad anyways. You know, the nice little spec bump to the regular iPad, that's pretty nice. That's a nice machine. You can do great things with it. If you own an Apple Pencil or are looking to get one soon, then check out today's sponsor, Paperlike with nanodots, which is an accessory that makes it feel and sound more like you're using real paper when you're working with an Apple Pencil. One of my favorite things about Paperlike with nanodots is that it's much clearer to watch movies and view content even when you're not drawing or writing. But of course, Paperlike actually gives you more control when you are writing or drawing thanks to the paper-like resistance that it offers. And yeah, it really makes a difference. Plus, it reduces glare and fingerprints, and who wouldn't want that? When you place your order for Paperlike with nanodots, you'll get 2 Paperlike covers plus application accessories, along with free worldwide shipping and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. You can get your own Paperlike with nanodots using the link down in the description. All right, I think I've rambled enough here, but hopefully this gives you a more concrete idea about which of these iPads is right for you right now, or whether you need to maybe wait and hold off for that next iPad Pro. But either way, I'll leave the links to buy either one down below if you want to just do some more research and check out those specs by yourself or see what the best prices are. But I hope this video was useful. Don't forget to check out the Daily Tech After Party. That's the podcast, comes out every Friday. Don't forget to check me out on Twitter, on Instagram. I'm at Daily Tech, spelled Daily Tekk, in both of those places. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.